Okay, welcome everyone. It is January 7th, 2025. Welcome to our Board of County Commissioners, our Commissioners Consent Agenda meeting. It is 2 o'clock and we have received no written comments for anything on today's agenda, and we will stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And then for the record, please let it reflect that we have all 5 commissioners are present. Under our open public forum, I do have 6 people that have signed up for open public forum. We normally allow 15 minutes, 3 minutes each, but with just having an additional one, I'm going to allow for all 6 to go with 3 minutes. So we will go ahead and get started, and we'll start off with Becky Dickerhoof.
Becky Dickerhoof, Spokane City. I am here today to ask the County Commissioners to enact what is commonly referred to as a 1590 tax. This ordinance, which amended RCW 82.14.530, allows the county legislative authority to impose a sales and use tax not to exceed 1/10 of 1% of the selling price in the case of a sales tax, or value of the article used in case of a use tax. We have now experienced our first significant snowfall of the season, and as in the past years, we cannot provide housing for all our citizens. Instead, we continue to treat those without permanent housing as criminals. Citizens do not want people seeking shelter in doorways, under bridges, or in the parks. We sweep away the detritus, arrest people who cannot find a place to hide when the sun sets, and each year that passes finds more people, families, children, and senior citizens without permanent homes. As homelessness continues, mental health deteriorates, physical health deteriorates, addictions rise, crime persists, both on the homeless and the community. Businesses suffer as well as the residents of the city. Neighborhoods do not want shelters. The only real solution is housing. We have the ability to provide safe, affordable housing to those on limited incomes if we choose. It is hard to understand what the obstacles are to creating affordable housing. Our representatives have been discussing the problem for years. Our politicians have been voicing their plans to overcome the crisis at every election. We are still hoping for action. 1590 could be a catalyst to action if the governing bodies choose to act. Please act and start the process to end the homeless crisis in Spokane. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Craig Volosing.
Excuse me. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Craig Volosing. My address is matter of record here. I'm here today regarding the proposed Clean Water Task Force. I think it really should be called a Safe Water Task Force. Proposed seems to be still the appropriate term. After many months, and I dare say many years, we still seem far from establishing this all-important vehicle as we pursue solutions to the crisis visited on so many of us, PFAS chemical pollution of our water. And yet, PFAS chemicals are just one element we face in a plethora of West Plains water resource safety threats. With elections and the holiday season now behind us, we ask that you now move, and move surely and quickly, to organize and establish this task force. Time has become a real factor. Mr. French, and we presume all of you, have proposed a $20 million ask of the Washington State legislatures. The legislative session is already underway. We, those affected adversely by PFAS pollution, would like to know the details of the proposal being made to the legislature. It does not take a political scientist, or for that matter, a practicing politician, to realize that successful requests for legislative funding are most likely to be enacted based on clearly demonstrated, documented, and publicly endorsed needs. In this case, pursuit of such funding without the input of a truly exemplary task force addressing the problem is a presumptive leap of faith and confidence. So many residents of the West Plain, whose health, wealth, sense of well-being, and basic confidence in our government has been substantially shaken by this PFAS malady, are now making a more urgent request. Please, commissioners, abandon the kind of crawling pace it seems you have taken in this matter. Please now move quickly and surely. Though this is a problem that is complex and deep, you have substantial help at the ready. Working both directly and indirectly with the West Plains Water Coalition, concerned and involved citizens, many of them, I might add, have invested much time, energy, thought, research, and study in this matter. We stand ready to participate and help. We want to be part of a robust, informed, representative, and transparent effort
Okay, thank you.
for the care of our West Plains water resources.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have H.T. Higgins.
My name is H.T. Higgins. Though it is a new year, some things don't change. Our unhoused friends still have a significant lack of emergency shelter beds in Spokane County. The predicted temperature the next 2 Tuesdays are 24 and 17 degrees. As I have asked so many times, what's the county's plan? As I have now worked through all of your public agendas from 2024, it seems to me that you have put very, very, very little of your time and talent into public discussions of homelessness topics. In late October, I spoke at this public forum and said, the first right we have as American citizens and guaranteed by the United States Constitution is the protection of life. Your most important practice as elected officials is to ensure you invest our government's time, talent, and treasure in protecting human life. Each unhoused citizen of Spokane County has the right to the protection of his or her life from inclement weather. Without shelter available to all our citizens when the temperature is 20 degrees, we as a community are not protecting this most basic right of life. I offered an urban plunge. Thank you to Commissioners Waldrop, Jordan, and Cooney for investing your time to respond and participate. Commissioners French and Kearns, crickets. No response. Clearly, this does not rise to the level of importance for either of you. Frankly, it is disrespectful to the citizens of Spokane County, including those that will suffer from the lack of warming center beds on January 14th and 21st. How many of you 5 commissioners have attended a monthly homeless coalition meeting? The use of your time represents your priorities. It's the most valuable thing there is, time. Please do not claim that this challenge, many would argue the greatest challenge in Spokane County, is a priority to you. The data of how you spend your time does not support that. To claim otherwise is dishonest. I am not going away. I will continue to offer you opportunities in 2025 to come to the table. Specifically, Commissioners Cooney, French, and Kearns, I will publicly challenge you to engage because you set the priorities of Spokane County. All I ask for is public discussion. Please, please engage and come to the table.
Thank you. Next, I have John Hancock.
Thank you for the chance to keep talking about PFAS. I left my notes behind right now because I've heard some encouraging news about what's happening this morning. Mr. French and I are on the way towards a harmonious partnership in this task force, and I'm glad to report that, and I'm sincere about it. And the roster gets clearer on each iteration. I'd like to say that there are several of my colleagues in the neighborhood on the West Plains who I would like to also join this task force. It's too big and hard a job for me to take on the duty of representing these thousands of people on my own. And my perspective is not the only one. The task force, I think, will be aided several ways by more citizen representation. One is in the process of how this work gets done, and another is in all the experiences and knowledge that we've accumulated over the last 2 years of focus on PFAS. And the third is that some trust building in our neighborhood is required for this task force to get off the ground as a legitimate, constructive organization. I'm glad to hear that the commission as a whole is now accepting oversight for this project. I think that helps it in many ways. And one of those important ways is to make it go faster. As Craig said, we think that's important, and the legislature has a schedule. Let's fit into it as well as we can. You've heard me say before that the needs are so severe here that we should be first in line whenever there's an opportunity to get support or funding for the solutions in our neighborhood on behalf of so many thousands of people. We're ready to go fast in whatever process you all create. We look forward to not having to stand here in 3-minute slices anymore, but to sit at the table in a constructive way and work this out together. So thank you for the support that we expect to get from you as soon as possible, and count us in to answer all of your questions, and we hope that you'll be willing to engage with all of ours. Thank you in advance.
Thank you. Christina Connolly? Sorry. I'll let you correct me.
Hi, good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Krista Connolly. I own and operate a manufactured home community out on the West Plains with 140 homes and approximately upwards of around 400 residents, and the residents own their own homes. So the water in our wells is contaminated with PFAS from the AFFF foam that you're familiar with. And some of you may know or not know, but the EPA levels for the safe levels, the EPA came out with last year, decreased significantly, and just in the Fairchild area, there's probably an additional 100 affected homes. So if you also count the airport area, then we're probably doubling the size of what needs to happen for those people. As a property owner, my shoulders hold the responsibility to provide clean water to all of my residents, and I'm a cancer survivor with a higher than average chance for reoccurrence, which would be terminal. And due to the tremendous amount of stress I'm under because of the water situation and trying to figure out a solution, I've been advised by my medical team to try to sell my property. So I did that. I've tried that over the last few years and have not been successful due to the water situation. So I am there. I'm here for the long haul. I know you've put out your legislative agenda and the $20 million ask, And in the information on your legislative agenda, it specifically states that the money's to fund the point of entry systems to provide clean water. But I just want to bring to light that point of entry is not the only solution to this, and it's not going to work for everybody that's affected. So the Department of Defense has put out different, like a priority schedule, which I think would makes a lot of sense, and I think the county needs to look at that as well. But there's also, I mean, some people, it would work well to connect in with municipal water, others it would not. And so point of entry at the wellhead may not work for everybody. So I'm not familiar if there has been a bill submitted to the legislature yet, and what may or may not be included in that, but I would like additional details on that so that we don't just limit ourselves as to what that funding could be used for, because we've got a lot of people to help in the West Plains, and we use all of our water differently, so there's not a one-size-fits-all filtration solution. And we insist that we have clean water in equal to what we have now, and at what the cost we currently pay now. So extending, like I said, extending city water may be acceptable to some, but not others. So I really urge you to please organize the task force and include residents
Okay.
like myself, and so we can move forward with this and find a solution.
Thank you. And next I have Matthew Sorey.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Matthew Sorey. I'm a lifelong resident of Spokane County. Thank you for being here and listening to our concerns today. As somebody who grew up in Medical Lake, the PFAS issue is extremely personal to me. It is important with the announcement of a new task force, we get on the forefront of bold and creative solutions to address this. The longer we wait, the more dire the situation becomes. I hope and pray we truly begin to address this in 2025 with full transparency to the residents of affected areas and our citizen advocates. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that ends our public comment. Commissioner French?
So, want to thank the folks from the West Plains that came down here to share their concerns and thoughts. Just by way of an update, the board this morning did review the task force composition that I presented back in October 17th. I think Commissioner Jordan and I have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow to take another look at the composition of that and try and reflect, I think, some of the concerns that Mr. Hancock raised in terms of expanding the composition on the task force to include additional citizens as well as maybe some other state and federal agencies to that. So the goal, unless changed here this week, is to have the scope of the task force identified with the composition and bring that forward hopefully next week so that the board can adopt it formally, and then it will be a fully sanctioned effort on behalf of the board to move forward with the task force and stuff. So just by way of an update, and I do know that as well as Mr. Hancock, and I see Mr. Beinecker in the offices here in the chamber as well, some of us have met to try and help shape this so that we can move it along, and we have another meeting scheduled for this Friday to where hopefully we can wrap this thing up and get it adopted by the board and formally be able to be in a position to move forward as a full board. So just wanted to provide that update for you.
Thank you. Okay, so then that takes us to we'll take 2A and 2B separately. So I will look for, to my fellow commissioners for items 2A. Commissioner Jordan.
Madam Chair, I would move to elect Mary Cooney as the chair of the board for the calendar year 2025.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further comment? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That will take us to item number 2B. Commissioner Jordan.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to elect Commissioner Josh Kearns as the vice chair of the board for calendar year 2025.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That will take us to the rest of our agenda, which I will look to my fellow commissioners.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve items 3, 4, and 5, including all sub-items on today's 2 p.m. consent agenda.
Second.
A motion and a second for items 3, 4, and 5, and all sub-items as presented on today's consent agenda. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, so then I will look to Mr. Simmons is on Zoom, if there's any further items.
Nothing for me, Commissioner.
Thank you. Mr. Folsom?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Then that concludes today's agenda. And thank you all for being here, and welcome to 2025.